Hello, my intrepid band of merry O-Satters. Welcome one and all to this, the 34th episode of the Sockmatician podcast, entitled, "There's a sock in that there hat." I don't know why it has to be said with the sort of Southern American drawl, but it kind of does. I am Nathan Taylor, for those of you who may not know, also known as Sockmatician, here on YouTube, also on Ravelry, Instagram, Twitter and Periscope. And it is my mission to bring the world of double knitting to the world at large. How have you been? It's been a very, very exciting time knitting wise since I last spoke to you, and I've got a lot of things I want to share with you and talk about. So I just want to say really welcome one and all, and I hope you've had a really lovely couple of weeks. It's very gratifying actually to see the numbers of people viewing the podcast episodes is going up and up, which is lovely. So if you are a fan, please like, share, subscribe, do all the things you need to do. Head over to my group on Ravelry, join in there, join in the conversation. There's plenty of people there chatting about some fun knitting stuff. It's a really nice community-spirited group there. I'm going to plough straight in to the roundup. There's not a great deal that I've been doing recently that I want to share with you in terms of my outside knitting life, but there are some things that I do want to talk about as well. It's been actually, I'm hesitating because I was deliberating whether or not I would say these things. I will. It's been a difficult couple of weeks personally, without wanting to dwell on anything or without looking for sympathy. I'm absolutely fine. It's just been one of those periods where lots of bad things happen to people I love, and it's been, of course, difficult to keep hearing about all of that. In the last 2 weeks since I recorded the last episode, I've sadly lost an aunt and an uncle. My Auntie Lorna, who was the matriarch of the family, my dad's eldest surviving sister to that point. She was a proper fearsome battle axe of a woman. I was enormously fond of her. I will miss her greatly. She was quite an incredible human being. She had a wicked sense of humour. Everything was on her terms, even down to the way she handled her illness and subsequent loss of the battle to cancer. She managed to convince everybody that the diagnosis had been incorrect and she didn't have cancer after all. The shadow that they had found on her lungs must have been something else. Basically, she didn't want anyone messing about. She didn't want any treatment. She said to me she was too old for all that messing around. And so she did it on her terms, and she convinced everyone she was well until right at the very end. So well done, Auntie Lorna. Bon voyage, and I'll miss you very much. My Uncle John also sadly passed away a few days ago. He was my Auntie Diane's husband. So sadly, within the space of about 9 days, Auntie Diane lost a sister and a husband. He'd been very ill also with cancer, and for him it was very much a release. So we're very glad that it didn't last any longer for him. But add to that, last weekend I was reading a very beautiful poem at the funeral of one of my dear friend's brothers, who sadly died very suddenly. A good friend of mine has been diagnosed with lymphoma, and another friend made the papers tragically this week for being killed in a road traffic accident while leaving rehearsals for a show that she was part of. And it's just been one of those times. I think I should be very glad to see the back of 2016. Personally, politically, world awareness-wise, all of the rest of it. I think 2016's been a bit shit, you know? So that's been sort of the reason why I've been a little bit less active, I think, on social media and not really popping into the Ravelry group as much or spending as much time on Instagram. It's been a bit of a difficult time. But moving that aside, I am very, very aware that I'm not the only person in the world who goes through difficult periods. We all do, and that, I think, is one of the wonderful things about the knitting world and the community that has grown up around it. I keep talking about the community, as a lot of people who are regular watchers of this podcast will know. It's one of the reasons I wanted to start doing this podcast, was so that I could reach out and engage with people that I wouldn't have the opportunity to meet otherwise. And a brilliant example of that is a message that I got this very morning, which kind of sums up one of the reasons why I wanted to do all of this in the first place. This is from Blackheath on Ravelry, whose Ravelry name is Jackie, from Toronto. She said, "I woke up this morning from a dream in which you were singing, Nathan. Your song was a sort of mashup between Puttin' on the Ritz and some Swiss cabaret songs. I don't know if there really is such a thing as Swiss cabaret songs, but in my dream they were a little corny and a little bawdy and very, very funny." Well, that sounds right up my street for a start. Which I guess is cabaret. Where the Swiss part came from, I have no idea. And then she goes on to say, "I've been really depressed for several days now, and I woke up smiling, and I've been feeling good all day because of this dream. I wanted to tell you about it because you really do inspire a positive mood in me, and I just want to say thanks for that, because sometimes I really need it." Well, Jackie, you're not alone. Thank you so much for sharing that story. I have replied on the forum, but for anyone who hasn't read that, I just put, "Dreams can be so random, but sometimes not as random as you might think. 2 years ago in pantomime in Wakefield, my big song was a version of Putting on the Ritz, called Cooking Up the Bits. It was a lyrically changed version of the original, all about frying and cooking up human body parts. It was deliberately and delightfully gruesome and very funny. Add a bit of cheese to that." I'm sure it mentioned cheese somewhere, and you've got the Swiss element too. So, Jackie, it seems like you may actually have dreamt something that actually happened in real life. So yes, we all need a little bit of a pick-me-up sometimes, and I very much hope that in joining me for a ramble for an hour or so, we can pick each other up and we can have a jolly old time together. I've also been suffering this last 10 days or so from a terrible chest infection. I don't know if you can hear it in my voice. I will try to keep coughing down to a minimum on this podcast. I will probably splice out a few of the worst ones because there's a horrible rattly wheezing noise going on in my lungs. It seems that ever since just over 2 years ago, when I got pneumonia while Ben and I were on our honeymoon in San Francisco, any sort of illnesses that go round go straight here. They go straight to my chest. They always used to be throat infections, but now it seems to be chest infections. And I've been coughing and spluttering my way through the last 10 days, which of course has meant that I've been in a less well-able state to cope with the things that life has been throwing up at the moment. But let's move on from that. Talking about community, the way I like to do on this podcast, I am hugely, hugely grateful to everybody who's been in touch recently. I do love reading all of your messages, and I adore it when there's posts in the forums on the Ravelry group. So if you haven't already joined the Sockmatician Ravelry group, please do head over there. I know I've already said that, but there's a questions thread there. If you've got any questions for me that you want me to discuss on the podcast, if it's tiny little things, then I'll sometimes answer them there and then, but I try to save them up if I can to talk about right here. I got a message on the forum from Leanne from Ontario in Canada, who is Woolly's girl. Hello, Leanne. And she said, "I just watched the video of you talking about your beard." Well, here it is. You asked for some input on care, and yes I did. So here is ours. "My daughter is deaf. She uses sign language and lip reading. We were snuggled down a few nights ago watching your podcast. Gracie, my daughter, said that you need to trim your beard and moustache because she can't read your lips properly. So there you go, a tip from us." Gracie, I'm really, really sorry. I genuinely am. I recently found out that the closed captions on YouTube only get automatically added to a video under a certain length. I don't know what that certain length is, but my podcast episodes are clearly too long for that. So I I can't even suggest that you turn on the closed captions. They're dreadful usually anyway. I know some people use them on some of my tutorials. But my own mother recently, I've been badgering my mum to get a hearing test. She's getting a bit mum, Jeff. And which is to be expected, you know. And there's no shame in that. There's no shame in that at all. I've suffered from bad hearing all my life and problems with my ears. And one of my biggest fears is losing my hearing, and part of me worries that because of the history I've had that it will be something that will happen to me. I really hope not, but it's happening to my mum a bit, and I say to her, you really need to get your ears tested. Why don't you can get some hearing aids and everything will be, you'll be able to get back into the world when there's background noise and all that kind of stuff. And she says, no, there's nothing wrong with my ears. She says, it's just that you've got, your moustache is covering your lips and I can't see them moving properly. It's like, that's not hearing, that's lip reading. So Gracie, you're not alone. For different reasons, I'm afraid I don't want to trim my moustache at the moment. I think the whole look is very much deliberately sort of wild man of Borneo, and I'm if I had a very manicured moustache and hugely long beard, I'm not sure that would work very well together. So I can only apologise. My own history with hearing is I was very very deaf as a child. I've had problems with ear infections all my life, and a situation called glue ear, where the fluid builds up inside the eardrum and stops it from vibrating properly. And I've had probably about seven or eight maybe operations on my eardrums over the years to allow air in, to drain fluid and all that kind of stuff. And I do get a lot of ear infections. I think when I was about 2 years old, I was profoundly deaf, and my mum remembers hearing that I had this little old record player, one of the ones where you put the arm across and the records drop down, and it had one mono speaker on the front. And she remembers coming up to and I was lying against it with my ear next to the speaker with the volume turned up full. It was the only way I could hear the music. And of course, music has been such an important part of my life. The idea of not being able to hear music at all genuinely horrifies me. So Leanne, I do have sympathy, and Gracie, I can only apologise. I hope it won't mar your enjoyment of the podcast too much. Maybe perhaps... Gracie, this is just for you, a special message with my moustache out of the way. I hope you can read what I'm saying. I'm trying not to overdo anything because I know that distorts things for lip readers. I really love the fact that you and your mum listen to the podcast and watch it together. I think that's a really beautiful family thing to do, and this is my special message to you from me with lots of love, and I hope you're able to work that one out for me. Bye-bye. That is sort of the best I can do. So, community stuff. Let's go back to the questions from the podcast questions thread. I do have it here, I think. So there's only one that's been put in that I haven't answered already since the last time, and this is from Knit in Solitude, who is Dietrich from Germany. Hello, Dietrich. Nathan, a few months ago I asked some non-knitting related questions about your love of ABBA. You did, and I did say I would get back to them, and I didn't. Apologies for that. You gave your short answer in the thread and promised to talk about it in more detail on the podcast. You're right. I recently saw a picture of you on Instagram posing, because I am such a poser, in front of your framed collection of ABBA singles. It reminded me of my post, which, by the way, was a little weird, so I'm happy to ask these questions again in a better composed manner. I should, before I go on to Dietrich's questions, I should say I am one of the world's largest ABBA fans. I think I've already shown this, but I do have the ABBA bees tattooed as part of the symbols on my arm. ABBA have been a huge influence on my life. And in fact, the story I just told of the little boy, me, with my ear against the record player, they were my ABBA singles that I wanted to be able to hear. I in fact collect ABBA singles on vinyl. I do have a very, very large collection. I've got about 450 ABBA singles from around the world. I only collect 7-inch. I mean, I have several 12-inch as well, but I'm mostly interested in the picture cover versions of the ABBA singles. Back in the day, now of course the music industry is globalized, but back in the day, bands would release on different labels in different territories around the world. Whoever would give them the best distribution deal, I would assume, got the rights to distribute the records in a given country, and they would often have sometimes different B-sides, sometimes slightly different lengths, different edits of the songs. They were released in different languages, because ABBA did record quite a lot of their songs not only in English but in Swedish, Spanish, German, French. There's lots of things going on in terms of finding rare and unusual ABBA singles, and a lot of them had different picture sleeves. And for me, finding one that I don't have is incredibly exciting. Gosh, my voice is getting a little bit croaky already. I haven't done much talking over the last week or so. I've been a little bit cough, 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 as I've already said. So that's actually what Dietrich saw on my wall. They're not actually framed ABBA singles. They are they're miniature. They're little CD singles that I bought as in a tin as a box set, and they are specifically the German Polydor releases. So Dietrich, for you, I'm sure they're the singles that you recognise and remember, but they are different from the ones that were released here and in other places around the world. But they're actually only about that big. They're they are the size of a CD single, and they all came in excuse me, they all came in little individual cardboard sleeves, and I got one of those mounting board cutters that give you the beveled edge, and I did some measuring, bought this huge frame and measured out and cut all the holes, stuck them all in and framed it myself. So I am incredibly proud of that, and it hangs on the wall in my bedroom, and I love it. It's a really beautiful, beautiful thing. So let's go back to your questions. I'm not sure you're going to like the answers, I'm afraid. Do you have a favourite ABBA song? I mean, it is like asking me to choose between a favourite child. Yes, choose a favourite child from, among your own children. There's not a single ABBA song that I don't like. There are some that I acknowledge are a little bit, perhaps not quite up to the standard they achieved with their greatest songs. I will allow that, but there's something I love in all of them. Even songs like Man in the Middle and My Mama Said, or My Marmozette, as Ben and I call it, because with the Swedish accents it sounds like My Marmozette instead of My Mama Said. It's just our little joke. It's for you ABBA fans out there who may know that song, because if you're not a huge ABBA fan, you probably won't. But I genuinely like them all. I would have to say it's not the most inspired or unusual choice, but I would have to say if pressed to choose a favourite, it would be The Winner Takes It All. I think it's a little piece of heaven wrapped up in perfect pop. It is just the most extraordinary piece of music. Agnieszka's vocal is exquisite and painful and devastating and haunting and beautiful. And the idea that this song is just two phrases, musical phrases. Da 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 da. That's one. Then it repeats. Da 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 da. Then you get the chorus, which also goes around twice. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. And it's just those phrases. There's no middle eight. There's no real sort of verse chorus structure the way we would normally know it. It's an incredibly unusual piece of music. It's so simple, and yet it has those passing chords that lead you, those mini modulations that is very classically written, that bring you from one chord to another. It's not just, we don't just go from there to there. We go via this beautiful, bright and sad chord with surprise minor chords all the way through it. It is a work of great genius and beauty, so I would say that would probably have to be the answer. Do I have a favourite member concerning the voices? Well, yes I do. It's what those in the know call ABBA's third voice, and I don't mean Björn. You have songs where Agneta takes a solo lead, you have songs where Frida takes a solo lead, and Benny and Björn often in interviews have talked about the third voice, which is the sound those two girls make when they sing together. And that, for me, is the joy of ABBA. It's the musicality, but it's also that vocal sound. So I'm not a huge fan of Mamma Mia, the show. Yes, of course, it's ABBA songs, but it's not ABBA. And for me, it's that sound. It's that where they sing in harmony or where they sing together. There's a way that the timbre of their two voices blend together and create something really edgy, really piercing. It's a blade of sound that comes straight from their forehead, straight down the microphone and into my ears and into my heart. And I absolutely love it. Do you know about the solo work they've done after they split up? Well, yes, I do. I've never really followed much of their solo stuff. For me, the joy has always been the combination of everything: the writing, the singing, the production values. Everything that made ABBA ABBA is what I have loved. So although I have a passing interest in their solo work later, it's not as fanatical as my love of the band work itself. And what's your overall opinion of their music and the way they developed during their career? Well, that's very interesting, because a lot of people tend to write ABBA off as, it's just cheesy pop. If you look at what they were doing right from the beginning, from sort of 1972, the really, really early stuff was very sort of rock inspired. You've got things like Watch Out, Rock Me, but even the earlier stuff, I mean, it was almost Beatles-esque. And in fact, what ABBA did is they absolutely moved with the times. While always sounding quintessentially like ABBA, they moved with the times. So they moved from that kind of Beatles-esque kind of rock music, rock and roll style, through into disco. If you look at the Voulez-Vous album, it's absolutely a disco album. They were very, very influenced by what was going on at the time, keeping themselves current all the time, and then through into Super Trooper and into the Visitors album, they went very electro pop. It was the 80s. It was the dawn of the new era of music technology, and that was absolutely use of vocoders in Me and I and things like that, and vocal sound effects in Lay All Your Love on Me, things like that. They were absolutely cutting edge, using all the technology at their disposal to create music which lived then as brand new, freshly sounding pop music, while always being true to themselves and giving a little bit of their Swedish flair, Benny's traditional folk roots, but also the classical training that went into the writing of the songs. I could go on talking about ABBA all day. Now, this is a knitting podcast, I am aware of that, but it's my knitting podcast, it's my podcast, my rules. So Dietrich, I hope that kind of answers your question. I know you went on to say that your particular favourite is the Visitors album. The Visitors album is just brilliant. It's dark, it's haunting, it's ethereal, and it ends with Like an Angel Passing Through My Room, which is such a beautiful song, and sad for me because it was the last studio album was The Visitors, and the last track on the last studio album, they did record some songs afterwards, but historically the last track on the last studio album is Like an Angel Passing Through My Room, and it's the only ABBA song they ever recorded that has no backing vocals on it. And to me that's really, really symbolic of of the breakup, of the fact that these people had sung together and they had their blended voices all the way through their careers, and then suddenly, as everything was drifting apart at the end, there's just one solo voice left to finish the musical career of ABBA. And I actually find that incredibly moving and very, very upsetting. So there you are, Dietrich. There's my long answer to your set of questions. I hope it's been worth the wait. I hope that I've answered them succinctly enough, but also comprehensively enough. Apologies for the coughing. So in terms of other community stuff, I have an announcement that I would like to share. It's not my announcement. As you know, a good friend of mine is John Dunballum from easyknits.co.uk, who's Easy Knitter on Instagram and Ravelry. Now, John does extraordinarily bright, vivid, wonderful colours when he's dyeing. And he works on a wide variety of really interesting bases. If you're not aware of his stuff, where have you been? If you would like to... Oh, I'm so sorry, I don't know what's going on with my digestive system. If you would like to get to know, go to easyknits.co.uk and check out his stuff. He's absolutely brilliant. He's also a dear, dear friend of mine and a very lovely man. And he is throwing a Christmas party at his new dyeing studio in Woolwich. He's recently moved from one unit there to another larger unit, and he wants to open up the space as a bit of a retail space as well, and have special events and knit nights and maybe host classes there and all sorts of things. He's got big plans for the space. Now, he's hosting a Christmas party on Saturday the 10th of December from midday till 6 p.m. There will be nibbles, there will be boozy drinks, and there will be plenty of yarn. The nibbles and the boozy drinks will be provided by John. The yarn is there for you to buy, clearly. And you will want to. You will absolutely want to. He says here, as most of you will know, Easy Knits has recently moved into a new studio space. We've been working hard to give the new space a balance between functional dye studios and comfortable teaching, shopping, knitting, relaxing space. We feel we're almost there, and we'd love to open our doors to you all for the very first time, and what better way than to have a Christmas party to celebrate the new space. We'll have hot and cold drinks and nibbles and lots of yummy yarn on offer. It will be the perfect party to come and get all those important knitting gifts for friends and loved ones. Now, that's a brilliant idea. If you are buying yarn and things for friends for Christmas presents, knitting friends of yours, rather than knitting gifts and giving them to people who are non-knitters, then why not head to John's studio on Saturday the 10th of December and pick up all of your Christmas knitting needs. So here's the address. It's Easy Knits HQ, Studio 31, Unit 4, Thameside Studios, Harrington Way, Woolwich, which is in London, SE18 5NR. So this is the email card invitation that got sent out, and I have spoken to John about this, and I have told him that I will be doing this. So I urge you, if you're in the London area and if you want to go, I'll be there certainly from the beginning of the day. I won't be there all the time, but I'll be there from midday for a couple of hours as well. Probably buying lots and lots of lovely things, because every time I go to John's stall on different yarn fairs, I can't help myself. I've got a lot of John's yarn in my stash. I really have. I do love it. So if you are there, please head on down. It'd be lovely to see you. John, I'm sure, will love to have you there. And let's make the grand opening of the new Easy Knits HQ go with a bang. I'm really looking forward to it. It's actually going to be the same date as my monthly craft and cake session. So I think our crowd from Craft and Cake, I think we're going to start the day there at John's and then move on to our own place later on. So we will certainly be there, and I hope you will be too. It promises to be a fabulous time. The Strandalong. The Strandalong... I've lost my bear again. There we are. The Strandalong closed on November the 15th. Well, the FO's thread did. The Whips thread I've kept open because there has been so much engagement. I genuinely, I've been astonished at how much people have wanted to get involved with the Strandalong. Why don't I just find out the exact number of how many posts there were. I know how many posts there are in the FO's thread. I'll get onto that in a moment. It was literally jaw-dropping. I was like, I couldn't keep up with it. I was away for a few days, and it's 1,129 posts in the Strandalong thread. That's just extraordinary. Thank you so much to everyone for taking part. I have loved watching all of your stuff evolve and develop and then finally get deposited into the FO's thread. There's over 100 FOs. I think it's 106 FO posts, but some of those posts have multiple items in them. I've just been bowled over. Now, I haven't finished my mittens. I haven't done anything on them since you last saw them. We'll have a quick catch up in Whips later on. I will, but I took the pressure off myself and thought, there's no way I'm going to finish this in time. I wasn't enjoying the knitting of it, and I thought maybe I'll come back to them at a time when I don't have to concentrate. I've been trying to do things which have required less brain work recently. I've been very, very busy at work. As I think I told you last time, I just started this new job, and that's taking up quite a lot of my time. It's only part-time, but juggling that with my other job and with as much knitting stuff as I can do, is just, time is not my own at the moment. And of course we're getting to that time of year where time doesn't belong to anybody. Time is all about trying to visit people and see people and do all the things that you try to cram in before Christmas, like the world is going to end on January the 1st and we won't have all of next year to see each other. But we do it all the same, and we do it every year. So I just have been, my knitting time, I've been wanting stuff that's been a little bit simpler. So the mittens needed a bit more concentrating in terms of trying to get the tension correct and working out what I'm going to do with the floats. It just wasn't the right time. So I took the pressure off myself and I thought, well, I'm not going to finish it. It's done. However, everybody else who's taken part has done amazing things, and I've actually got one of the prizes over there, which I want to bring in. So bear with me just one sec. So I have been through the FO's thread, and I have chosen people who are going to be the winners. And there's obviously one of the prizes is this lovely skein of Cornish Tin 2 from Blacker Yarns, which was very kindly donated to me by Sonia and the team at Blacker Yarns in return for doing the review for them that I posted a couple of months ago. It's very, very lovely, and it's still got some vegetable matter in it, so it's all very rustic and beautiful. And this is 100 grams of woolen spun Cornish Tin 2. It's dyed in the colourway called Ding Dong Purple. It's 70% wool, 10% mohair and 20% alpaca. It's really, really interesting. I mean, I'm not going to go into all the details of it. Just watch my special review on this, which is on my YouTube channel. But this is one of the prizes. I'm not going to call it the top prize, it's one of the prizes. One of the other prizes is your Knit Your Own Zombie, which Aileen, Little Bush Baby in Glasgow, has very kindly donated. I don't have that here. I'm going to liaise with her, and she, depending on where the winner lives, she'll either send it to me and I will send it on, or she'll send it direct if it's in the UK, because I wanted to keep her costs down. But that's also going to be going to someone. And the other prizes will be patterns from my Ravelry store. So I shall make gift orders for the other winners. And I'll allow you, if you are one of those people, to choose your own patterns. No point me sending you something you might not want to make, but I will send you a pattern from my Ravelry store, which you are free to choose. That sentence went nowhere. Got myself completely tied up. So it has been brilliant, and the FOs have been absolutely incredible. Some of them, what I've loved about this, it's a lot of people have said they've been encouraged to have a go at stranded work when they've never tried it before, and they've come up with brilliant, wonderful, amazing things. Other people have said that they have never done much stranded work before, but they've been encouraged to try and up their game, and they really seem to have done so. And there's people who do some amazing stranded work all the time who've given us the kind of eye candy that makes it, with me, and I hope this is true of everybody else, it doesn't make me go, oh, I'll never be that good. It makes you go, that's beautiful, I wonder if I can do that. It's just been an absolute joy watching all of this come together. So, these are the winners, okay? These are not in any particular ascending order, these are in chronological order as I worked my way through the thread. Now, forgive me. No, don't forgive me. There's not anything to forgive. Most giveaways on podcasts tend to be done with random number generator. It doesn't sit very well with me. I think people are putting some effort into something when they're creating something, and therefore they deserve to have that effort considered. So I've chosen these winners. Now I've chosen them for a variety of different reasons. Sometimes because it's just been fabulously eye-catching, sometimes because it's amazing work, sometimes because someone looks like they've put a lot of effort into something and that deserves to be rewarded. Sometimes I like, whatever reason, it's something that's caught my eye, and I have felt that it deserves to be rewarded. So congratulations to everybody. Clearly, I can't recognise and mention absolutely everybody, but there are, what have I got here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 7. I was going to whittle it down to 5, but there are 7 people on here that I want to particularly commend. One is, now this is going to be quite tricky because I'm going to be jumping between screens, so bear with me. One is Nessa Hucks from Scotland. I don't know your name, I'm assuming it might be Vanessa, but maybe not. Nessa Hucks from Scotland, who in the thread is number 6. And where is it? I was very, very taken with the tam that Nessa made here. It's absolutely beautiful. I thought the colours were really, really well thought through. Those blues and purples and reds really work very well together, and the natural background that they're on is gorgeous. I particularly liked as well, Nessa included a photograph of the inside. Look at that, isn't that lovely? Really, really beautiful. Now, my one regret about the Strandalong, I fully intended to open up a thread for people to post pictures of the reverse side of their stranded work. And the reason I wanted to do it was partly because I'm really fascinated. I enjoy seeing other people's float work, but I just wanted to name the thread "Show Us Your Backside." It just tickled me. So because Nessa Hucks, because you've shown me your backside, you will be getting a prize. I'll tell you what in a moment. The next one is number 21, and that's Math Marie, who is Marie from Indiana. Now where is Marie's post? It just tickled me. It made me laugh so much. It's a gnome mountain hat. Oh, it's just adorable, isn't it? Who wants to close the crown of a hat quickly? Just keep knitting. Just like take a couple of stitches off every now and then and just keep going. You get this fabulous wee willy winky hat. It's such a lovely, lovely design. It's really well executed. I love the tassel on the top as well, rather than a more traditional pom-pom. Everything about this is cute, it's quirky, it's eccentric. It's all the things I love in a piece of knitting. And well done, Marie. So one of the prizes will be winging its way to you as well. Next we have number 33 in the thread, who is Achtung Kitten, Rachel from Georgia. And now number 33, did I say? That was fine, number 33. Now I was really, really taken with the pattern that that's where is it? Can't find it. 33, here we are. Rachel knitted, and it's these Anchors Away socks. I'll credit the pattern on screen at the bottom because I can't be bothered to look and I can't remember exactly who it's by, but it's really, really beautiful. And I was most taken with the little cables. Oh, sorry, it's reflecting. The little cables there down the side. They're beautifully done with two colours, and they just add this really gorgeous piece of texture to the rest of the knit. I love the fact that they're created symmetrically. I love everything about them, and I think the navy blue and the white is really, really gorgeous. So well done there, Rachel. You are also in the prize pot. And then we've got, oh hang on, wrong screen. The next one is Yellow Pink Sparkly, who is Janet from Liverpool. Janet has surpassed herself, I think, this time. Janet and I spoke quite a lot chatted about her cardigan. She has made a scrappy cardigan. She's got a big bag of scraps of yarn, and this one is made with 19 different colours. It's a total of 366 grams, which is not actually that much for a cardigan, but just look at the beauty that is that. It's her own pattern, I believe. Let me just check on that. Yes, my totally unique, one-of-a-kind leftovers cardigan, personal pattern, not in Ravelry. But let's have a little look at that. So it's some beautiful traditional Fair Isle peries and motifs in there. It's just utterly spellbindingly fabulous. And there's Janet wearing it incredibly proudly and absolutely right as well. That's exactly the right feeling for that. I think it's stunning. I think it's beautiful. I love the fact that the colours, although randomly chosen, well, now Janet and I talked about this. Not necessarily random. She wasn't just sort of fishing around and picking up whatever colour. She was making choices about what would go well with what. But she's got the same striping working all the way up the sleeves and up the body as well. There's a lot of thought has gone into that cardigan, and I just think it's utterly wonderful. So Janet, you are also in the prize pot. The next one is Bob, who is Bob Holt from New Hampshire. He's number 66, and where is his hat? Bob is the creator, or the knitter, of this lovely hat here. Now, what caught my eye about this one is, apart from the fact that Bob's a male knitter, and it's lovely to have male knitters represented in the Strandalong, what I like about this hat is it crosses the borders between traditional Fair Isle work, which often can seem a little bit feminine, and a hat which is wearably masculine, and it's chosen very bright colours, not necessarily traditional male colours, which a lot of knitters think are just browns and navies and blacks and greys. There's some bright yellow in there, and the orange and the green, very, very lovely, in the stark contrast with the white background. It all comes together to make a hat which is both traditional and modern and masculine as well, and I really, really like it. I don't know if it's a hat he designed. I've just seen that. So Fair Isle-ish hat, he calls it, and I think that's exactly right. I've just sort of, see, I hadn't clicked through to the page. Very eye-catching, really, really nicely done. Well done, Bob. I think you should be very, very proud of that. I love it. Then we've got two more. We've got Alazybeauty, who is Renee from the Netherlands, and now this is a Renee Keys pattern. Let me just find it. What I loved about these is just very, very eye-catching pair of socks. These are called lumberjack socks. The pattern is lumberjack socks by Renee Keys. And I thought, in light of the fact that I'm wearing my lumberjack shirt today and I've got my big lumberjack beard going on, how could I not completely fall in love with these? And I looked at these, and there's some progress pictures on... You are Renee Keys. Am I being really stupid? You are, aren't you? You are Renee Keys. You're not just coincidentally also called Renee. I'm so sorry. Brain not firing on all cylinders at the moment. These are absolutely beautiful. And I love the fact that that Renee has got some progress. I feel so stupid. Some progress pictures on how she knitted them. And the vertical lines are actually added in later, which makes so much sense, but makes all the difference to the pattern. And it really does look like a lumberjack plaid there. They're fabulous. Well done, Renee. Beautiful design, beautiful socks. Yeah, you've got your name on your blockers and everything. I really should have put two and two together earlier than now. Sometimes I genuinely surpass myself with my own obliqueness, vagueness, stupidity, call it what you will. And finally, I've already mentioned Jackie, who is Blackheath on Ravelry and coming from Toronto. Number 104 in our list is, where is it? It's one of my designs, not influencing my choices at all, but it's the Paganino cowl. Now the Paganino cowl, of course, was the one that I released specifically to base the Strandalong pattern around, the Strandalong around. And this is Jackie's beautiful version. It's hard to see, but I think that's a really dark purple and a sort of either pale grey or white. Either way, the colours are really, really lovely. She's done a very incredibly neat and fabulous job. Her Fair Isle ribbing, her stranded corrugated ribbing at the sides doesn't flare the way mine does. So it's a very neat and tidy piece of knitting, and I think it's utterly gorgeous, and it's really nice to see one of my designs executed so well. So well done to you. So now, who gets what? Who just dropped my iPad. So I mustn't laugh. I mustn't make myself laugh because it makes me cough, it makes me wheeze and rattle. So I would like to say that the following 5 people will be getting patterns from my Ravelry store to choose from, and those 5 people are Jackie from Toronto, congratulations. Renee from the Netherlands, congratulations. Bob, congratulations to you too. Well done, you also get one of my patterns. And Rachel, you get a pattern from my designs, Rachel from Georgia. And Marie as well, you also get a pattern. So that's Marie, Rachel, Bob, Renee and Jackie. Congratulations to you. I'll be in touch with you all directly, but if you want to jump the gun and just send me a private message, let me know which pattern you would be interested in receiving, then I will send that to you straight away. And the winner of Aileen's fabulous book is going to be Nessa Hux. Now this is genuinely a coincidence. Nessa, you're from Scotland, and Aileen, you live in Scotland as well. It seems silly, Aileen, for you to send the book to me so that I can then send it to Nessa. So I'll put the two of you in touch, or at least I'll pass on Nessa's postal address. So Nessa, if you give me your postal address, then I'll pass that on to Aileen and she will send you the Knit Your Own Zombies book. And Janet in Liverpool, how could I not? How could I not? This skein of Cornish tin 2 will be winging its way to you. Remind me of your address. I think I have it somewhere, but just remind me your postal address and I'll get that in the post to you very quickly. It's absolutely gorgeous. All of you, congratulations. Well done. Well done. I'm so delighted with the level of engagement, the fantastic quality and the high caliber of the work that went into all of your designs. Just because I've chosen some doesn't diminish the quality and the value of the others. I've been bowled over genuinely by everything that's happened during that little long, and it won't be long before I host another one. I think I'll wait until after Christmas, get that out of the way, because I know there's a lot of Christmas things going on, but I think January and February tend to be sort of dull months, and hopefully lots of people will get some nice gorgeous fabulous yarn for Christmas. So I might have a Christmas gift knit along or something like that, where you can cast on something that yarn you received for Christmas. Maybe. I'm thinking off the top of my head. I may change my mind. Let me know if you think that might be a good idea. So well done all. Staying with community just for a little while. On the last episode, I talked about the Knitters Pay It Forward initiative. Now, I was very, very pleased to be able to join in with that, and I made my Remember cowl free. It's £4.50 normally. It's a double knitted cowl with poppies all around the neck. And I made that pattern free from the 11th of November through to the end of the month. It's still November now, so by the time this goes out, there'll still be a few days left, so you can still download that. The coupon code that you need to check out with on my Ravelry store is Knitters Pay It Forward. So carry on downloading it. The reason I'm struggling here is I just want to get the exact figures. I have been just blown away by the numbers of people that have been downloading this cowl. Currently, the figure is standing at 3,397 downloads. Now, this whole thing, of course, made me question the nature of altruism. And now, the one thing I didn't want this to be was a sales pitch. I didn't want it to be something that I would directly benefit from. So I know. Okay, I'm going to name it. There are some people who have been saying things, or I'll pay it forward. I'll offer my patterns at a discount, or if you send one as a gift, I'll send you. If you buy one for someone else's gift, I'll send you a copy for free. All of that, which is all very well, but of course it is kind of encouraging people to spend money in your store. I have no problem with that. This is not a judgment at all of anybody else's methods. That's good marketing. I'm very, very happy for people to do that. Of course, I find ways of bringing people to my store myself. I didn't want to do that. I genuinely wanted to be part of the Knitters Pay It Forward, and in terms of me not getting anything back, but hopefully somebody who has been made happy by getting a free pattern will then, I hope, do something nice for somebody else. Not for me, for somebody else. It's about paying it forward, not paying it back. So that's why I did what I did. It's been amazing to think, 3,397 I think I said. Nearly 3,400. So I'm just because this is outrageous amounts of money, I want to, I can't even find my calculator on here. It's over £15,000 worth of making people happy. And this makes me incredibly happy. So this is why I've been questioning the nature of altruism, not because of other people doing it different ways, but in terms of my own. I absolutely wanted to do something nice for other people. It's made me feel really good. That many people have had a little bit of, oh, that's nice, I've got something free today. And it's added up to £15,000 more, £15,000 worth of happiness that's been, and it's cost me nothing. It's not as if I've given away £15,000, just as well because I don't have it. But that many people have had something nice, and hopefully it's brightened someone's day enough to make them want to say, I will now do something for somebody else. I know some people have thanked me by saying, thank you for this, I'm going to make a donation to a charity, I'm doing blah blah blah, charitable work, all the rest of it, and that's just been amazing. So keep paying it forward, guys, genuinely keep paying it forward. If anybody here is watching this today who has already downloaded the Remember cowl, don't forget, it's not free. You're supposed to do something nice for somebody else. If you are not in a position to be able to do something nice for somebody else, that's okay too. But if you are, please do. So that's the community-based stuff. It's been going on quite a long time today, ladies and gentlemen. So let's move on. I'm not going to do a grammar rant, and I'm not going to do... I think I've run out of tattoos. I can't have done, because I just can't remember what I've done. I genuinely can't remember. So I don't want to be repeating myself, so I think that's it for What's Tat. Apologies for that. If anybody wants to keep a tally and say, well, you've done this, and this, but you haven't done the one that looks like that, by all means let me know, and I will gladly address the problem. But I think that's it. So let's move on. I don't have any stash enhancement. That's quite rare. I don't have any stash enhancement. I'm saying it 3 times, because like the bellman in The Hunting of the Snark, what I tell you 3 times is true. You know The Hunting of the Snark, the Lewis Carroll epic nonsense poem? Just the place for a snark, the bellman cried as he landed his crew with care, supporting each man on the top of the tide by a finger entwined in his hair. Just the place for a snark, I have said it twice, that alone should encourage the crew. Just the place for a snark, I have said it thrice, what I tell you 3 times is true. That's how the poem begins as they go off on their epic voyage. So I have said it 3 times, which means it must be true. I got nothing new. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I went to Yarnporum, as you know. I bought quite a lot of stuff there. Christmas is coming up. So it's not as if I need to buy things. I've got plenty of stuff going on. Talking of plenty of stuff going on, there's quite a lot of things going on with me at the moment in terms of teaching. Now, this is all plans for next year, but I've just confirmed I'm going to be teaching at the Sheep Shop in Cambridge, and that's going to be in April, and it is that's this year. Let me get all the details up for you. It's going to be the 8th of April, and the Sheep Shop in Cambridge is 72, I think it's Beach Road, Beche Road, Cambridge, CB5 8HU. And the lovely Sarah, who works in the shop, runs the shop there, she contacted me and asked if I would be doing it, if I would be interested in doing it. And I'm going to be teaching my advanced double knitting class there. So this is for people who already have experience of double knitting, can already do double knitting, but would like to take that further in terms of shaping, increases, decreases, a bit of lace, maybe a bit of cables. And that's going to be from 1:45 till 4:45, so it's a 3-hour class. And if you go to the Sheep Shop, I'll put the website address down here. If you go to their website, you can purchase that. Places are very limited. It's only 7 spots. We've only just firmed this up, so I believe I'm assuming there are still spots available. And if you would like that, if you're in the Cambridge area, then please do. I've also in talks with. Obviously, I'm going to be teaching at the Edinburgh Yarn Festival in March, but I'm also in talks with 2 other yarn festivals based in the UK for next year, and I've got various other things in the pipeline as well. So watch this space. There's hopefully going to be a lot more teaching coming up. So if you have missed out on Edinburgh, I know that was sort of the big one, if you have missed out, there will be opportunities to catch me somewhere else around the country next year. My big plan for 2017 is to really, really up the level of teaching and engagement, personal engagement that I do with people. The podcast is all very well, but it is just virtual. So I do want to make sure that I am out there reaching out to people and giving as many opportunities in as many places as I can to teach and meet people. So that's going to be amazing. So 8th of April 2017, the Sheep Shop, contact Sarah in Cambridge and get your place booked today. Right, let's move on into whips, shall we? I've already mentioned my Latvian mitten. Let me just, this is in my bag from Shannon from Sockmatician. This was a lovely gift from Sharon as part of a swap that she and I took part of back in the summer. Here it is, it's looking exactly the same as you saw it last time. So take the spare needle out. So I'm knitting this on the Carbon's 6-inch. I have to say I do like the length of these. They don't jab me in the hand the way the 8-inch do. The 8-inch are all in the wrong places. I'm quite enjoying knitting with them, I have to say. They do feel nice. They're a nice weight. I like how lightweight they are. They're slick. As I have said, there's a little bit of a catch there, but not enough to the transition point. but not enough to affect dragging on the work too much, so that's good. Still loving the fringe. Really, really love the fringe, the way it's all been, there you go. The way it works, the way it gives this beautiful edge. I decided to do a 2-colour fringe that made my life a lot more difficult, which is, so I was stranding right from the start, because it was for the Strandalong. And then I've got this these beautiful rose, just wrapping myself around itself here, hang on. There we go. Got these lovely roses which are now complete, so I finished the cuff there. I'm going to work on, I am going to carry on with these. They do feel rather large. This feels a bit big for a cuff, but maybe it's not too bad. It's going to be very, very warm, I have to say. So no progress on those, but there will be. I'm not going to make any promises I can't keep. I'm not going to say anything rash like, well, next time you see them, they'll be nearly finished. I very much doubt that that's true, but I thought I'd share that with you today because it is the end of the Strandalong, and that's how far I got. Well done, Nathan. Marvellous, bravo. In terms of other whips, I've done a little bit more progress, only a few rows, but a little bit more progress on my Il Barato scarf. Still utterly in love with it. Spoiler alert, there's something large off the needles. Finished. FO coming up. So I now have more time to devote to something like this. This is one of the most beautiful things I've ever knitted, I think, in terms of my own designs. I really, really love everything about it. The colour choices, the yarn, for those of you who may not remember, is Travel Knitter, which is Larissa from Walthamstow. She lives in Walthamstow. She's from down under. She's not actually from Walthamstow. She dyes these incredibly bejewelled colours, gorgeous, gorgeous stuff. This is her yarn. There's only 4 colours. It looks like there may be thousands, and it's only 2 at a time. But I've been working on this top pattern here. It's kind of difficult to see at the moment. It's a bit better on that side, a bit easier. I love it. I love everything about it, and it's so much fun. It had been a little while since I last worked on it, and I sat down the other day and I just did a couple of rows, and I just got back into the flow, and it's just gorgeous, and it feels really nice, and it's just going to be really warm and cozy. I'm really looking forward to now just knuckling down and getting a lot more work done on this. I genuinely knitting that scarf is my happy place at the moment, and I haven't had much time to get to my happy place, so I'm really looking forward to more time on that one. That's that. Now the other whip is the reason why this episode is called There's a Sock in That There Hat. You'll remember last episode was called The Shouting Hat because of this bad boy here. This bad boy, which is, it now has got a name. It didn't have a name last time I spoke to you, but it has. A couple of people mentioned to me that because it's a helix, it's really blowing out the camera, because it's a helix construction, and because these double cables, the 2 lines going around each other, are like a double helix. For all of those reasons, people were suggesting that it should be called the DNA hat. Now, I really liked that as a concept. However, there are a lot of patterns on Ravelry that have DNA in the title, largely because there is a particular type of cable called the DNA cable, which looks like a double helix with the horizontal bars, looks very much like a strand of DNA. And I didn't want to go down that route because I didn't want it to get lost. Look at that beautiful cable. Let me put it on so you can see it at the front. I have to say, I do love it. Although it's blowing out so badly, you really can't see it at all. How's that? A bit better. So I wanted to go down that line in essence, but not in specifics. So this is now called the allele hat. Now, the pronunciation of that word is a little contentious. There's a little bit of controversy about that. There's also a little bit of controversy about the pronunciation of controversy rather than controversy. I say controversy. I believe it to be more correct. Now, in terms of the allele hat, A-L-L-E-L-E, an allele is the pair of mismatched genes where one would have dominance over another. This is in very simplistic terms. Forgive me, I'm not getting this entirely right. But for example, if you've got blue eyes, you'd need to have two blue genes, one from your mum and one from your dad, because blue is a recessive gene. If you've got brown eyes, you could have a blue gene and a brown gene sitting next to each other that that dictate the colour of your eyes, but brown will be the dominant one. I know this is now up for debate, there's other things, but in the most simplistic terms. So an allele is the pair of mismatched genes where one is dominant over the other. And of course these are mismatched because there's two pink and two yellow and the two colours going up. So it felt very right. Now that's what an allele is. And the allele is the way I was always taught to say the word when I was in my biology classes working on genetics. But I know a lot of people would call it an allele. And it does come from the longer word allelomorph. So it would tend to suggest that you would be pronouncing it allele. Now I've looked up a lot of dictionaries. You know I'm a bit of a phonetics geek. I do love reading phonetics and talking about pronunciation of words and getting it exactly right. Now my own dictionary, which is a Collins dictionary, which I tend to go to as my reference book for this kind of thing, does specify allele rather than allele. And most dictionaries that I've found online also specify allele over allele. However, the Oxford Dictionary says allele. I'm going with that. Interesting discussion on Ravelry about the fact that it is short for allelomorph, or it's a contraction of the word allelomorph, which would suggest that it would be allele. But then English doesn't work like that. If you look at photograph, photographer, and photographic, they're all the same root and they have three completely different stress patterns. So that argument's blown out of the water. So this is the allele hat. The pattern will be coming very soon. I've actually written the pattern up. It is ready to go. I'm just waiting for a chance to get some photographs. We need a nice sunny day and a good camera. And actually, it's a nice sunny day today, but Ben's not here, so I can't do that. And I'm going to get it tech edited, it's all ready to go, and then I will be releasing this. But I looked at it, and I thought to myself, there is a sock in that there hat. And the allele sock was born! It's coming. I'm halfway down the foot of the first sock. And here it is. As you can see, it shares the same brim design around the cuff. It has the same cable working its way down the front and the back of the sock. The heel flap is striped to match the cuff there, and here I am working the way down the foot. It's a standard top-down heel flap and heel turn gusset design, and the helix knitting working its way all the way round, and my plan is to end it with a toe that matches this, so it'll be a pink, yellow, pink striped toe. Now what I want to do to make sure my yarn consumption is even between the two socks, I'm actually going to reverse the colours on the second sock, so it'll be yellow, pink, yellow, yellow, pink, yellow, and on the toe, yellow, pink, yellow. So there will be a mismatched pair because of the allele structure, the fact that they should be mismatched. That is deliberate. It also means that if you've got the same amount of yarn, you're not going to risk running out of one colour. So that, it's really, really weird. Because of the knits and the purls, this sock wants to curl itself up entirely and completely hide what's going on. And it does it on the back as well. It's ridiculous. But I love what's happening with this sock. I'm really, really enjoying knitting it. Helix knitting is great fun. Gosh, that's really blowing out. Sorry about that. Helix knitting is great fun. You get these beautiful one-row stripes with absolutely no jog. If I tell you that I am starting each round at the side of the bottom of the heel flap here, I've got a bit of a tension ladder going on there, but that's not the point. If you look here, yes, you can see there's an extra line of yellow there, but look across here, there's absolutely no jog. These stripes, just that yellow stripe across there by my finger, just transitions all the way along smoothly and gently all the way around the sock. I love it. I really, really do love it. So this is the allele sock. There's the back. and there's the front. And this is made in the uncommon thread tough sock, which is, I've got a feeling it's 100% BFL. It might be 80-20 with nylon. It's definitely BFL in their high-vis pink and high-vis yellow colours. It matches this entirely. It's the same yarn. And here they are. I've got so much left. There's 100 gram skein of yellow, 100 gram skein of the pink. Now I knitted this with the yarns held double, so you can see that the cables are much thicker. Let me hold these at the same distance away. So the lines are different thickness, the sort of the striping here, and the cables are different thickness. This is, the yellow was held double and the pink was held double, so it gives you a really dense, firm structure to the hat, and makes it much more. It makes it really knit up like a DK weight, but it is a fingering weight, 400 meters per 100 grams, I believe, and so it works perfectly for sock weight. So I'm going to have the perfect matching sock, but kind of scaled down in terms of yarn weight. I'm so excited about this. I really love it. I wouldn't normally do this on the podcast. I don't like showing feet and things, but look, there it is. I'm not wearing any socks underneath this, so I don't want to show people my toes, because some people don't like feet. Some people do. I really don't, so I'm not going to share my feet with you. There you go. It's just looking absolutely gorgeous. And I can't wait. I'm really enjoying knitting it. It's the cabling is so intuitive. I haven't looked at the chart at all already. Once you set up and you realise what's going on, you just knit what you come to. It's so easy, and it's really just look at the way that flows down the foot. So sinuous, so beautiful. 2 colours of cables sinuously winding their way around each other. Everything about this sock makes me happy, and the colour does too. So that's the Alliel hat, and the Alliel sock, a whip. That's kind of it for whips. I do still have the piano number 3 in progress. Do you know what? I'm going to keep it on. I do have the piano number 3 in progress. It's been hibernating a little bit. I haven't done anything on it for a while. Now that I'm going to have more time on my scarves, for reasons I'll talk about in a minute, I will be planning to get back to that very soon. So that's the plan there. I'm going to go a little bit lopsided with my hat today. I quite like that look. It's fun. So, moving into FOs. I've got 2 FOs for you today. I'm a very proud and happy knitter. You'll remember seeing my proud socks. The reason I said proud, my proud socks last time are now both finished. And here they are. I could not be happier with these. Ah, these beautiful rainbows reversed in colours. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, purple, blue, green, yellow, orange, red. Just lovely, and then with their heel flaps also reversed. These are John Dunballum's, so if you like colours like this, then do head down, as I said, to his open day on the 10th of December. But these are so wonderful. I love everything about them. I love how they feel. I love how they fit. These are made with John's Proud Minions. They're the big boy minions. The big boy is the yarn base. And here they are on my feet. So yes, you can see the little jogs at the bottom because these are not helix knitting, and this is where I changed the colour. But I just adore the fact that they are reversed colours. I really love it. And one of the things that makes me more happy than anything, I'm just going to tilt the camera down, is the fact that the reason I chose to reverse them is so that when you can see them in trousers, you can see like that. You still see all the colours of the rainbow rather than just seeing half at a time. That was absolutely the plan. Everything about them is gorgeous. Again, these are knitted cuff down. I'm not going to release a pattern for these. It's just a standard vanilla sock, just with a lot of striping going on, a lot of ends to weave in, which I didn't enjoy very much. But the second sock was a lot more accurately worked out in terms of rows. My row gauge was slightly different with this yarn from the yarn that I I used with the socks that I used as a template, I counted the number of rows and worked out an even number split by 6. And then of course I split the heel flap by 6 as well. And it wasn't quite right. The thickness of the yarn is slightly different, so the row gauge was off a little bit. Not hugely. This is the sock that is not 100% accurate. You wouldn't really notice. These 3 are slightly wider than these 3, but only by about four rows. And then I adjusted that for the second one and made it perfect. I used a 2.25 Chowgu circular needle, and 72 stitches per round. And these are quite generous on me. They're quite roomy. They're nice, sort of slouchy, comfy wear around the house socks, which is really nice. But they work in a shoe as well. They're fine. What I don't understand. Oh, do you know what? I did do a little experiment. I did a couple of rounds with different knitting techniques, and you can actually see across there, one row is much tighter than the other. Oh well, you can't really notice it when it's on the foot. So yeah, it's a 72-inch sock. I did 20 rounds. I cast on with the old Norwegian or the German twisted cast on with both needles held side by side, which is my favourite way of doing it. It's a 2x1 rib, which is my favourite type of sock cuff. I feel 2x2, the purl ditches are so wide that I don't like that so much. And with a 1x1, even with a twisted 1x1, it just feels a little bit pinchy. Whereas this looks like a proper rib. I really like that. So 20 rows of the ribbing. I think I did about 50 rows of the leg. Went into the heel flap, which is 36 rows, being half of 72. I did those 6 colours. Obviously that worked out very nicely, so 6 rows of each colour. I made sure that where I changed colour, because I did a slip stitch heel, where I changed colour, I knit the first row of the new colour plain, so you wouldn't get the zigzags of the slip stitches, which you sometimes get there. So that's added a little bit of alteration to the texture there. The bottom colour of the heel flap, I continued to work the heel turn itself. And then I just decreased back down with picked up side around the side, decreased back down to my base number of 72, and then I did a wedge toe, which is my preferred toe shape. I don't see any need to do a rounded toe. Wedge toe fits me rather well. And then with the other sock I did exactly the same, but I reversed the colours. There were a lot of ends to weave in, I'm not going to lie, but what I got out of it was something to be incredibly proud of, and I am. So that is one finished object. I'm going to take this one now because I do want to show my next FO. I've been working on it a long time. The hexahap is finished. This hexahap has genuinely been such a fun knit. This is Tom van Danen, who's Tom of Holland, and it's from the Book of Haps, the Kate Davis and Jane Arnold Culliford book of haps, which I know everyone's heard of. The hexahap is just a work of genius. This is knit with Morocco summing alpaca, I'll put it here, Peruvian wool and alpaca, and it's finished, it's gorgeous, and it's huge. So I'm going to just trot around to the back of my sofa so I can show you. I've just blocked this. It came off the blockers today, and here it is. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the hexahap. I'm not sure it's entirely dry. It feels a little cool. It may be still a little bit damp, so I may just lie it out flat. It's on every level. This is gorgeous. The blocking has really opened out the lace panels, and everything about this is stunning beyond belief. I've chosen to do mine in 6 different colours for the middle and a 7th colour for the lace border. The lace edging is really gorgeous. Look at that. And it's got these wonderful garter stitch wedges across the corners. and every edge finishes with these beautiful yarn overs, so you get this gorgeous little scalloped edge there. It's so intuitive, it's so wonderful to knit, it's so easy. Everything about it is such genius, and I want to envelop myself in it all the time. Blocking it has opened out the texture and the structure of the middle sections, as you can see. It's difficult to see, but you can see through it a little bit there, and it has a little bit lost a tiny touch of the smush of the fabric that I had before I blocked it, but only a little bit. Here's a picture of what it looked like unblocked, and you can see it was sort of rounded edges, and the lace work was a little bit contracted, and it was drawing everything in. It felt like the lace border wasn't as big as didn't fit quite around the outside. But now that I've blocked, I mean, look at that. Look at it's hanging to a beautiful corner. Can you see that there? It just wants to be beautiful poker straight lines. Because of the nature of the lace edging, with these wonderful eyelets on the edges, it's perfect for blocking wires. And I've got this set of Knit Pro blocking wires that I've had for ages. I don't use them that often. They're really long, about a metre long, and all I did is I just sort of wove the end of the wire through every single stitch, and then pinned it out on massive mats. I've got these interlocking rubber mats that they basically filled the entire living room, because it is huge from point to point along the edges. It's 90 centimetres, and it's 88 centimetres I think, and it's 90 centimetres from corner to centre point, which means of course it's 180 centimetres corner to corner. It's enormous. I mean, I think it's if I hold up one corner, it's probably almost as tall as I am. Where is it? No, it's tall. It is as tall as me. What I have done that's different about this, I know I've spoken about this before, but now that I've got it here, I can do it all in detail, is in the pattern book, the whole of the centre is worked with one colour. And actually the colour that Tom used is quite similar to this oatmeal colour, this stone oatmeal colour here. And gosh, I love it. But I decided, because I knew that the pattern had this beautiful swirl in the middle, I wanted to make the most of that. You see it pinwheels around. It's just so amazing. I'm entirely in love with this. So it swirls around like that. I wanted to make the most of that. I wanted to show that up. So I thought I wanted to do it in different colours. Now that has meant that I've changed the way the piece is constructed. It is knitted in little modules. You work on one triangle at a time, and the border is not added on afterwards. You knit across the triangle. You do a clever little intarsia twist, which is reversible because Tom's a genius, and then you work along the row there, then with the dark colour, then you work back again doing the lace, do the little intarsia twist again, and then work back into the triangle. So you work along that, and when you've got one triangle with its lace edge, you then pick up stitches along the side of the triangle and continue making the next triangle. Obviously not forgetting to put the little garter wedge in the corners to make all the angles work properly. So because the pattern here is a combination of knits and pearls, now it's all done with sequence knitting. Let me see if I can find one that really shows up the texture really well in this light. You get these fabulous diamonds there. You see the diamonds of knits and pearls. Now that's all done using the maths of sequence knitting, which if you don't know, look up Cecilia Campochiaro's book Sequence Knitting, which is what Tom based a lot of all the principles of this design upon. Brilliantly well. I mean, so well adapted for something brand new and fabulous. So where was I? Yeah, because it's all done with knits and pearls, in the pattern, you're dictated to pick up a certain number of knits and then pick up a certain number of purls as you work along. And that means, you know when you pick up stitches, you get little blips of colour showing through on the other side? If it's all one colour, that doesn't matter. If it's two colours and you're picking up one line of stitches, you're going to get, every few stitches, you know, when you get the purl side, you're going to get blips of colour, and I didn't want that. So I thought about it long and hard, and I thought, how can I do this? And I thought, well, picking up into something, I want to pick up into something that is the same colour as what I'm picking up with. So I've got colour A here, colour B here. If I pick up colour B into colour A, I'm going to get blips. If I pick up colour B into something that's already colour B, there'll be no blips. So I thought what I need to do is I need to create an edge of the second colour before I then pick up the stitches into it. And the way I did that is very simple. I want to talk about this in detail with Tom. I know he's quite interested in how I did it. It's cheating, it's not really picking up stitches. What I did is I laid the cable along the edge of the triangle, and with the new colour of yarn on a tapestry needle, I just went over and over and over, literally spiraled, picking up the right number of stitches, but they were loops, they weren't stitches. I was literally sewing around the cable so I could keep them on the cable there. So, and just these spiraling loops, 100 and however many times, all the way up. That meant that when I then started knitting and purling into those loops, they were already the right colour. And so essentially it's the same as if I'd knitted a provisional cast on and then just sewed the two edges together. I just did the sewing first and then used those sewn stitches as the base for my next row. Does that make sense? And it worked really, really well. Now I didn't know quite how to do the end, because once you've knitted the 6 triangles, you have to, in the pattern it dictates that you graft, you start with a provisional cast on, you graft the end to the beginning in pattern. So you're doing a Kitchener stitch, but you're doing it some purl stitches and some knit stitches. Tom's got brilliant tutorials for how to do this, but that wasn't going to work for me. So what I had to do, I can't even remember now. Gosh, do you know, I'm going to have to really, really think about this. I had to do some shenanigans, and of course I only did it the once, and it made perfect sense at the time. I didn't take any notes. Essentially, what I did... I think I just sewed with the original colour. I sewed into the provisional cast on, and then I did a graft into those sewn stitches. So I was still grafting in pattern, but only on one side. The rest was just picking up a loop. That's right. So I did the sewing first, made all the loops I needed of the right colour, and then I grafted in, so from that loop into that stitch, graft, into that stitch, graft, and I did it that way. Whatever I did, it worked really, really well. I'm very, very pleased with it. Here, for example, is the transition from blue to green. No colour blips. Works very nicely. Everything about this is gorgeous. The best thing about it is it's entirely reversible. It doesn't have a right side and a wrong side. Even if you look at the transitions between these little blue nubs here are the transitions between coming across and into from the blue to the brown. If you turn it over, they look exactly the same. The intarsia twist is entirely reversible. You know, when you're making intarsia, you've got a very, very much a wrong side. So this I can just wear it wrapped around me. It's so snuggly, it's so beautiful. I think it is a little bit damp. So it will be going out to dry again, but it's just, the blocking has worked so perfectly. I could not be more pleased with it. So this, ladies and gentlemen, is the Hexahap by Tom Van Danen. It's a piece of genius. It's stunning. Sorry, Aloysius. And everything about it is delightful, delicious, and beautiful. And I'm going to get so much use out of this hap. I cannot tell you. I don't want it on there. I want to be wearing it. I know I'm just going to be sitting in front of the television at night, wrapped up in this. If Ben is really, really lucky, I might put it over both of our laps, but I think it's just for me. It's so gorgeous, and this yarn it just feels so creamy and it feels like butter. Can you tell I'm a little bit in love with this? I know I've been banging on about it, but I'm so proud of it. Knitting this has been a real comfort. As I said, it's really brainless. When you're actually in the mechanics, the garter wedges, I did have to sort of look up in the book every time just to make sure I was doing the right. It's done with short rows, and I wanted to make sure I was knitting the right number of stitches per row. But in the actual body of knitting the triangle and its attached edge, it's so mindless and so easy. It's been great tele knitting. It's been great, proper meditative switch the brain off knitting. And I have loved genuinely every second of it. It's been on the needles for a good few months. I think I got the book for my birthday, which is at the end of June. I don't think I cast on straight away, but it's everything about it is amazing, and the process has been so enjoyable. I cannot recommend knitting a Hexahap enough. I just can't. It's everything about it. I'm so proud of it. I love the colours. I think I was clearly inspired by the cover of the book itself. Let me just grab the book so you can see what I mean. Here's the book. I've got the blue, I've got the green, I've got the stripe of brown, I've got the greys, I've got the stone colour. But to me, I wanted it to look like Scottish countryside, and I think it really does. Look at those diamonds. Oh, goodness me, I absolutely love it. So there we are. That's my finished objects done for this week. And that's pretty much all I've got to say. If you're having a miserable 2016, or if you're having a miserable week, remember it's only for now. This too shall pass and all of that. And crack on and cast on something wonderful, something that makes you happy. Do something for you. Give yourself half an hour in your day, if you can find it, to just sit down and enjoy knitting something. Even if you're knitting it for something else, the knitting is for you. It's your time. Enjoy it. And so now, although like the Hexahap, this podcast episode is a finished object, just remember life really is a work in progress. Just take it one stitch at a time. See you next time. Bye-bye.